HIV is a deadly disease that infects the lives of billions of people worldwide. South Africa, one of the most developed countries in sub-Saharan Africa, currently faces the highest profile HIV epidemic in the world. There are many organizations trying to combat the disease, such as the Avert Foundation, who estimated that in 2012 there were 6.1 million people living with HIV in South Africa, and 240,000 lives are lost to AIDS-related illness. Foreign aid efforts have also worked exceedingly to intervene, offering approximately $1 billion annually to run HIV/AIDS treatment and prevention programs. These donations have helped to increase the life expectancy of an individual by nearly 5 years. However, HIV plagues the daily lives and culture of innumerable innocent individuals because of the negative stigma that has come to surround the idea of Western intervention and HIV treatment in South Africa. It is our duty as an educated, informed, and compassionate public to continue to intervene where intervention is necessary, while keeping in mind the social turbulence of the nation that prevents it from eradicating the disease as fast as possible. In its current state, there are many factors that put South Africa at high risk for HIV/AIDS. These include general instability, like poverty and limited access to health care, as well as sexual inequality, where there are high levels of sexually transmitted infection, sexual violence, and prostitution. And moreover, there has been a long history of neglect in the governmental response to the epidemic. With the accumulation of such factors in the past decade, South Africa has seen a transformation in its societal perspective of the disease. Since the initial outbreak, HIV has been publicly denied by an overwhelming majority of the people, almost as a secretive ploy to deny its existence. Unwilling to suffer the embarrassment and exclusion that one receives for being infected, HIV-positive individuals consciously refuse to use sexual contraceptives and admit to their infection for fear of being stereotyped. This resistance limits doctors' abilities to intervene with treatment and fosters the continued spread of the disease throughout the population. The stigma surrounding HIV in South Africa is what is doing the killing, and explains why infection rates in these areas are so high. However, it's unclear as to how and why these euthanizing stereotypes developed among South African ideology. Social and economic interventions are possible routes in addressing the current situation, but focusing primarily on the long-term intervention is hardly feasible, for it would take time that is unfortunately not available. Long-term intervention is necessary, but if we are to change such a norm in the cultural view of this disease, the short-term challenges in the social discourse of HIV first needs reformation. The continued immediate attention of the infected population is of the first priority, but in the nature of the disease and prevention, the ability to speak up, speak out, and acceptance of this disease so desperately needs to be emphasized. As coercion in the tragedy of the commons is referred to as dirty, HIV in South Africa has similarly been condemned as dirty, but this stigma needs not forever to be so. And it is suggested that this negative light or dirtiness will be cleansed away by the exposure to the light. In the cultural context of South Africa, this insinuates societal permeation over and over, without apology or embarrassment.
We need our government to campaign about preventing, even on TV, radios, everywhere when you go, in big boards.
In the last 10 years, the government improved in their efforts to bring HIV into the light by allocating 90% of its revenue to fund HIV research and treatment, but more notably by their recent pursuit in promoting social acceptance. There are initiatives encouraging protected sex, like positive advertisements of contraceptives and public condom distribution throughout cities and villages. Likewise, the medical community in South Africa has shown their support to willingly create open conversation about the epidemic. Just this year, they have highlighted the influence of social media, and for doctors like Cindy Van Ziel, it is through nuanced methods capitalizing on modern technology that she has began to incorporate it into her own practice. To Cindy, the social stigma remains a huge challenge for those infected, but social media and smart technology is a powerful way to provide positive light, acceptance, and advice to thousands. CCTV's Julie Shear interviews her from Johannesburg.
I'm always on my phone. If I'm not on my phone, I'm on my tablet. And that's because that's how people reach me. So email, SMS, WhatsApp messages, Twitter, Facebook as well. Anonymity is everything. Within the HIV sphere, I've realized that people want to know stuff, they want information, they want help, but the biggest problem is stigma. The stigma is not going anywhere. No matter what anyone tells you, we are still living in a country, or in a world actually, with high rates of HIV stigma. So the anonymity that my platform, my work offers is everything.
Thanks to her blog, people across South Africa and abroad have gained valuable information and hope.
My mantra is that HIV stands for hope is victory. I think primarily what I am is I'm an online activist. I want people to live with hope and not to die out of ignorance.
Lack of information about HIV fuels her passion and dreams.
I want to grow this, and I really want I want everyone in the world to be able to access information.
Social media has a growing influence throughout South Africa, as more people among the nation have access to a cell phone than to potable drinking water. If a null future and the reputation of secrecy regarding HIV has a foreseeable outcome, advancements in media technologies and contraceptives must run alongside those of treatment and research. An open conversation through the relentless repetition in the context of social media can be created and promoted with the help of traditional healing practices and South African biomedicine. More modern approaches to family planning and contraceptive control of HIV is the key to its prevention and future spread. It is through the use of its growing access to the internet and modern communication that South Africa will halt the short-term effects of the stigma surrounding HIV, meaning as well to eventually amend the behavioral norms and societal perception into speaking up, speaking out, and accepting HIV/AIDS.
Dangariro nemzviroto zvangu ndiwewe